Frith, hope all is well. This video is on Perthro Stada, Galder movement and practice. For Stada, you could do it on a seat, like so. You could do it on sitting on the ground with that same kind of posture. I don't want to sit on the ground right now because it's wet. Um, you could do it from a standing position, so it's like a balancing again, and always doing it on both sides, of course. And then the last sthana that I work with is in the Indian yoga tradition is the mother posture, right? So I like this because then if you're standing in that position, it's not a very hard kind of movement to get to that place where you see the actual sthana or the actual runic shape. But also just in the sense, because in the feminine tradition with working with runes, this is kind of like, and there's different ways to look at the shape of Perthro. It could just be laying and having sex in that sense. It could be the vulva, that sense of like the mysteries that come within that. So those are some associations, and so the mother posture in a way kind of incorporates that feminine side as well, but it does it with that sense of like giving birth, giving life, coming out of the canal, which in itself is a gamble in life, as we know. So that's the other sthana I work with. For the Galder, I work with two forms of it, with just a with that P sound, or to just continue on with it. So it's that wind that kind of blowing out. And then of course you could use it just the whole you can do the whole Galder as well. As for the movements, I have a couple variations. One is just rolling around on the ground like dice. I know it sounds weird, but as you're doing it, it has a way of like, so it's touching, and the weight of your body is pushing on all these different areas of your body, which helps stimulate it and get the blood flowing. It also, in my experience, it has a way of, what would be a word? You can lose yourself to it in the sense of like it's just this experience, and the sense of self kind of becomes more mutable, shall we say. And another experience that I had is it kind of brings back some of the joy of childhood, and just rolling around and having fun. So, and I think of that one as from the dice, because one association with Perthro is the lot cup or gambling with dice. So that movement goes along with that. The others that I work with are starting in, again, a mother posture, and working with squats. So that really activates the legs. Working with the arms. So now you're working with the upper part of the spine and the neck. And then going in a back and forth motion, like I'll often just walk in the meditative space that I'm working in, back and forth. And when you do this, it's activating all parts of your body, but the focus, of course, is on the spine. So it's like, as you do this, really focus on different parts of the spine, and do the movements that most stimulate that area that you're focusing on. And of course, so that's activating the whole body, definitely working with the digestion, with the organs and the heart. Like, all this movement is moving stuff around, right? Getting things moving. So yeah, that's Sthana, Galder, movement. So now the practice. The focus that so there's a couple of things I focus with in Rune Yoga. First and foremost is just that continuation of processing through and breaking up patterns and those aspects of yourself that you want to change or amplify, whatever it is. So working with I was ritual meditation, now we dive into the sense of self and really get into the subconscious and the unconscious and start to unravel whatever's going on energetically. so that's one side, and the other side is working with just starting to dive deeper into the sense of self, and so that involves getting researching and learning and meditate on what the self entails, like the soul lore, basically. And I'm not going to go on it much here because I'll have a link to a blog post that goes a little bit more in detail of each of these different aspects of self. But I, of course, always encourage you to watch as many videos and read as many sources as you can to basically define and solidify your own path and your own understanding of the way things are. So yeah, just really briefly, so granted, in the heathen tradition, there's not like one set. This is the soul lore, because we're talking multiple different countries, many different peoples and tribes, and views and time frames and history. So depending on what point in history you look at, it's going to be different, right? And it's going to be different even between family members. So, but as what I work with is the lich, which is the physical body, the un, which is the breath, the spirit, that pranic chi-like energy, the hammer, which in some ways is like an astral body, and there's more to it than that. The hubr, which is the mind and emotions and different aspects of the personality, and then the mini, which is like memory, but also ancestral memory and like the gifts that the skills and those kind of gifts that we come into this world with. Let's see, have Philia, which is like a guardian spirit, guide, follower. There's a lot to that. The Haminga, which again is like, in some ways those two kind of mesh, but Haminga is more like ancestral, like kind of energy, luck. There's more to it than that. There's, of course, all these aspects of ourselves or parts of ourselves are like, there's, it's a lifetime of learning and growth. So what I'm giving is just real broad. Let's see. The
Ode,
which is a sense of inspiration and tapping into that free flowing. You're in that flow. You're in that energy, that poetic space, that artistic space where things are just flowing and growing, and creativity is just blossoming. And then I work with also Odin's wolves, and for me, their energy kind of represents like our instincts and our drives and our compulsions and those things that kind of push us, and then also just our insatiable appetite, like our hunger and grasping on the things. So those are some of the different aspects that I encourage you to work with the Iwas ritual, meditation, and focus on each one of these topics. Learn as much as you can, create a meditative space, do what you need to do to hollow it out and make it sacred, and then clearing all distractions, you really touch into everything that you've already read on this subject or listened to or watched videos or whatever it is, bringing that all into that space, and then you bring that energy into your mind's eye and focus it towards like touching in with your body, touching in with your feet, right? Touching in with your hammer, really touching in with the breath, like that energy, that sense of flow, go into each of these different aspects of yourself and really focus on it. Pay attention, So yeah, that's it for this video. Until next one, I wish you well, and be blessed.
Odin, Thor, Freyr, Freya, Sif, Frigga.